Let's get into our second one for polar, and we're going to talk about the negative radius. Yeah, a length. We're going to call it negative. There's a reason. I'll just tell you right now. It can create loops. May not make sense right now, but I think when we go in and we look at a graph, and we're like, oh, no shit. No shit. Well, loops. All right, negative radius. Here's how it's going to work. So, oops. So we have that our radius. Oh, no. We have a polar point that's a r comma theta. But what happens when we have negative r comma theta? Now let me draw it for you, because I think drawing it, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It should. People in the past have been like, no, that makes sense. Here we go. So let's say that this is r and this is r comma theta. Now where do you think negative r comma theta is? Where do you think this one might be? I just drew this one right there. Where do you think negative r? What would make sense? And I'll bet you in your head you're going like, go the other freaking direction. Yep. Wow. I don't know what that was. I got a shaky hand, but not that much. All right, there we go. And we can say that this is negative r comma theta. Just go in the other direction. It's almost as if, it's not even almost as if, it is. But this is the same thing. It is equal to, change it to the positive radius and just add pi to your angle. So how far is it? Isn't this a 180? Isn't it 180 degrees or pi radians? So if you just add pi to your angle, bang, you got it. Huh? That would be. But we also have a couple other radius. So let's kind of get that ready. So negative r comma theta is equal to the positive radius. Just add pi to it. Or if you want to, you can take pi away. Either one, it's up to you. Doesn't really matter to me whether you go the positive route or you go the negative route. It'll matter in the question when it's asking you to leave all your angles between 0 and 2 pi. Then it's going to matter whether you subtract or whether you add, but let's go. Now, we can also say that our radius, comma theta, can be equal to any multiple of 2 pi, right? Because if you spin around in the circle, you go right back to where you started again. And I got to use this times n for n, an integer. I like using k personally, but your textbook uses n, so I'll use n along with it. So that's how you deal with a negative radius. And then we have the idea of coterminal angles. Remember that, coterminal angles? We don't really give a shit how many times we spin around in a circle, we only care where we end up. Let's go. Let's plot some more freaking points, huh? Let's plot some points. What do we begin with? Let's do number, actually, let's write right above it. Let's just go right above it. Small. Okay. Let's look at the point. Let's go 1. Let's make it -1 comma pi over 2. So the way I like to do it is I just like to write the positive first and go like, well, right to this point here, just 1 unit away. Just 1 unit away. Well, that would be positive r. I'm sorry, not r. We're supposed to write 1 and pi over 2. But the issue that we're having here is that our problem actually has a negative in it. So, go the opposite freaking direction. We go to drive and we're like, well, we're going to start here, but now we're going to go down. And we go to -1 comma pi over 2. But if you look at this, this is the exact same thing as +1 comma. Just look at it. Don't even do the frickin' math. You're like you're pointing towards 3 pi over 2. So these are the same things. But we do have a negative radius. Let's do another. This time we'll just plot it. Let's say that let's say that this one is -3 comma 5 pi over 6. So first, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. And this one is not ours. It's just 3 comma 5 pi over 6. So we want to go the opposite directions. Like, okay, 1, 2, 3 the other way, and there's our point right there. There we go. There's negative 3 comma 5 pi over 6. But it's also equivalent to 3 comma 11 pi over 6, just by adding pi to it. Those are the same things, but there's our graph. There's our graph. It's not even a graph, it's a freaking point. Those lines there are just to help us see it. Now let's tackle this one. Say we have 4 comma, and let's stick with the pi over 6, and let's go 13 pi's over 6. So I get a positive 4. I'm like, all right, so 12 pi over 6 is right here. Remember that coterminal shit? So you're like, hey, look, spin around in a frickin' circle. And now what's left? How much further past 12 do we have to go to get to 13? 1. These are the same things. This is the same frickin' angle. So we go out 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there is our point, 4 comma 13 pi over 6. Which is the exact same thing as 4 comma pi over 6. Those are coterminal angles. We still deal with coterminal angles. Bang, plotting points. No biggie. And I think I'll just do one more with you. Let's just do one more. And let's call this one, let's get weird. Let's go negative 5 comma negative, let's go 7 pi over 3. Let's throw it all together here. Well, first off, I don't like that. I'm just not a big fan of negative 5 comma negative 7 pi over 3. I'm thinking let's add 2 pi to negative 7 pi over 3. And you're going to get negative pi over 3. Well, that's better, but I still don't like it. I'm just going to keep adding 2 pi. I'm going, nah, that's going to become 5 pi over 3. Oh, by the way, 2 pi is 6 pi over 3. So negative 7 plus 6 is negative 1. And negative 1 plus 6 is equal to 5. That's why you have 5 pi over 3. Cool, so now we can do that little game where we're like, all right. So this would be 1 pi over 3, 2 pi over 3, 3 pi over 3, 4 pi over 3, 5 pi over 3 is right down here. Okay, cool. We're like, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be positive. Well, we want to have negative, which means we go back the other direction, right? So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back the other way. And there's our point. Negative 5 comma negative 7 pi over 3. And this time I didn't write in the arrow, so I didn't draw that line in. Just so you can see it's just a point. And if you look, this is also the equivalent. This is 5 comma 2 pi over 3. Weird. Hey, that's how you plot points. That's polar. Good shit with polar. And then the next one, we'll start converting. We'll go back and forth with equations. See?